region, all Chattahoochee Valley for baseball, and all region for football. Bryson's future plans include attending East Georgia State College to play baseball and pursue a degree in sports medicine. Bryson's favorite verse is Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Thank you, Bryson. Cam Houston. Cam is accompanied by his parents, Amy and Cephas Houston. Cam has attended Calvary for 5 years. While at Calvary, Cam has been a member of the varsity baseball team. His sports honors include All-Region Award, All-State Award, and All-Chattahoochee Valley First Team Award. Cam's future plans include attending Albany State University to play baseball and pursue a degree in business administration. His favorite verse is Romans 8:18. For I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Thank you, Cam. Tommy Irving. Tommy is accompanied by his parents, Mary and Harry Irving. Tommy has attended Calvary for 7 years. While at Calvary, Tommy has been a member of the varsity baseball team. His sports honors include Postseason Pitcher of the Year, Most Improved Award, All-Region Award, and All-State Award. Tommy's future plans include attending Southern Union State Community College to play baseball and continue his education. His favorite verse is 1 Corinthians 9:27, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Thank you, Tommy. Austin Smith. Austin is accompanied by his mother, Deidre Irvin, and grandmother, Desiree Angles. Austin has attended Calvary for 7 years. While at Calvary, Austin has been a member of the varsity baseball team. Austin's future plans include attending Troy University to pursue a degree in sports management. His favorite verse is 2 Timothy 4:18. The Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, Austin. Austin Wiggins. Austin is accompanied by his parents, Kent and Allison Wiggins. Austin has attended Calvary for 4 years. While at Calvary, Austin has been a member of the varsity archery team and varsity baseball team. His sports honors include the Calvary Award for Varsity B, 3rd place in the male division at the GIAA Archery State Tournament, and the 2024-2025 GIAA All-State Archery Selection. Austin is fully committed to attending the Fellows Program at Impact 360 this fall. After completing the program, he plans to earn his CDL and pursue a career in the construction and forestry industries. His favorite verse is Colossians 1:21-22. And you, who once were alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, he has now reconciled in the body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless and above reproach before him. Thank you, Austin. Calvary Knight family and friends, how about one more round of applause for our Calvary Knight 2025 seniors and all the accomplishments they have completed here while at Calvary. Calvary Knight fans, just a reminder, our Booster Club has several baskets for auction at the entrance. That bidding will close at 7:30 p.m. Again, the Booster Club has several baskets for auction. Bidding will close at 7:30 p.m. Make sure to go out and make some bids and support the Calvary Athletic Program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the campus of Calvary Christian School in Columbus, Georgia on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Mike Peacock here with you tonight for the next to last regular season home game, or the last regular season home game, actually, for Calvary Christian, and the next to last regular season game for the Knights as they will host Heritage out of Noonan, the Hawks. And Coach Steve Smith's team comes into tonight's game at 16-12 overall, and they are 8-4 in District 5. They are second in the district at this moment and will stay that way headed into the playoffs. Brookstone, I believe, has secured the region or the district championship, and the playoffs will start this coming week in GIAA. Tommy Irving on the mound tonight for Calvary, and his battery mate, Jackson Kennedy, they're finishing their warm-up pitches. Interestingly, something you might not have known about Heritage Noonan, their head baseball coach is none other than Johnny Estrada. If you are an Atlanta Braves fan, you probably remember that name, Johnny Estrada. He has been at Heritage now for a couple of years at least, and has done a good job with the program. Heritage enters tonight 16-12 overall, 10-13 overall, but they are 7-1 in their district, District 1 in 2A. First pitch to the leadoff hitter, Landon Justice, the center fielder, is strike one. Irving deals. That one's going to be poked up the middle. It's going to be fielded by Cam Houston. He's going to throw across and get him by a step. So one away here. And Asher Durham will step to the plate, the shortstop for Heritage. Right-handed hitter. Irvin. Nice senior night ceremony. That was ball one outside. No, I'm sorry. That was strike one outside. Umpire was a little bit delayed making his call. Tommy Irvin plans to go to Southern Union next year up in Wadley, Alabama. You might say, well, Southern Union's in Opelika. That is the Opelika campus. Their athletics are in Wadley, Alabama, and have been for quite a number of years. 0-2 now as that pitch was fouled off. First pitch, the 0-2 pitch to him up high for ball one. Beautiful night here, but tomorrow is not supposed to be a beautiful day. 85% chance of rain tomorrow. There's a bouncing ball over by the Calvary dugout as Durham stays alive. And we'll do it again. Yeah, I'm doing the Chattahoochee Valley Sneed games this weekend. They were supposed to be tomorrow at noon. They have moved those to Sunday. There's a swing and a miss. It gets away from Jackson Kennedy. He'll throw down to first, though. And there are two away. First strikeout for Tommy Irvin. And that'll bring up Greg Smith, the first baseman for Heritage. May have a surprise guest here in a little while. Somebody that Calvary folks will know. And there's a drive way out to right field. And that is long gone. In the tops of the trees beyond the right field fence. The big left-handed hitter, and he is a big kid. He's probably around the 6'3" range and are probably 225, somewhere around in there. And he absolutely jumped all over that pitch from Tommy Irvin and deposited it well out of here to right field. And Heritage is on the board 1-0 on the home run by Greg Smith. That was a no-doubter. That brings up the designated hitter, Bryson Smallwood. Smith was a left-handed hitter, and he turned on that pitch and got every bit of it. That first pitch to him is inside to Smallwood. I have coached against Heritage both here at Calvary and in my 3 years at St. Luke in middle school softball when I was the softball coach at St. Luke. So I'm familiar with Heritage. Beautiful campus up in the Noonan area and really nice facilities. 2-0 now. There's strike one out over the heart of the plate. And it's 2 balls and a strike. 2 outs, 1 run across for Heritage on the big fly. The 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. The wind has picked up considerably this afternoon, and that is out in front of that weather front that's coming tomorrow. Bouncing breaking ball comes up there. That's ball 3, so it's a full count now to Jax Latham. Or excuse me, Bryson Smallwood. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So, in the first inning for Heritage, 1 run on 1 hit. There were no errors and no runners left on base. After a half inning of play, Heritage leads at 1-0. We'll be back here to Calvary in just a moment on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Back at Calvary, the Knights coming to the plate. They're in their white pinstripe uniforms tonight. One of the, I think, probably their best looking uniform. Dark green numerals trimmed in black. And Cam Houston will lead it off for the Knights in his customary spot. Shortstop. First pitch way up and inside for ball 1. On the mound for Heritage is Sean Covey, and he is a large fellow as well. Right-hander. He deals, stays high, ball 2. Beautiful evening, as we said. Calvary with senior night ceremonies before the game. Let's see if I can make an accurate count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seniors this season for the Knights. And it's 3-0 now to Cam Houston. He's in the driver's seat. He can be very patient here, look for something to hit. He will definitely be taking right here. And that's ball 4, as all 4 pitches kind of were up in the zone that time. This is where Steve Smith hopes his other hitters are recognizing, number 1, that he's up in the zone, and number 2, that he's thrown 4 straight to the leadoff hitter. That'll bring up Trip Ellison, the center fielder. Where's number 1, hits from the left side. Now the pitcher's back on. Everybody kind of stepped away there for a second. First pitch. Runner goes. He is going to be safe. The ball is knocked down by the shortstop but not corralled, so a stolen base for Cam Houston and a runner in scoring position. So we'll see what kind of strategy Steve Smith has here. Is he going to try to get Tripp Ellison to hit behind the runner here, pull the ball to the right side, get him over, or is he going to have him drop down a bunt? See what he's going to do here in this first inning. That pitch is on the outside corner at the knees for strike one. So finally, after 5 straight, Covey throws his first strike of the game. He's into the stretch, looks back. The 1-1 pitch, inside, fouled off, fisted out of play to the left side. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ellison. You'd love for Ellison situationally to get it to the right side here and get that runner to third. And he's going to, instead, he's going to deposit it into the left center field, and he's going to have an RBI. That's going to get all the way to the wall. Ellison rounds second, but he's going to put on the brakes there with a double. And we're tied as Tripp Ellison does a good job of hitting right there. The ball was out over the outer half of the plate. He went with it and just drove it directly over the shortstop's head out into left center. It got through to the wall for a double and an RBI, and we're tied at 1. Got to bring up Bryson Brooks, the right fielder for the Knights. Brooks got plenty of power. The pitch, breaking pitch, strike 1. Runner at second, we're tied at 1. Nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Another breaking pitch, strike 2, a nice one. I don't think Covey threw that breaking pitch very much to the first 2 batters, and he's broken it out here on Bryson Brooks, and he was like, why are you doing that to me? He's thrown 2 good ones. The 0-2, another breaking pitch, went to the well again. Bouncing ball to the shortstop, and it gets away out into left field. That last hop, he kind of waited back, and he let it take an extra hop, and that's usually a bad thing to do in baseball on the infield. That one kind of got away from it. Took a wicked hop, came up toward his chin. He got his glove up, but deflected it out into left field, and Tripp Ellison was able to score easily. Right now, that'll be an unearned run, but we'll have to reconstruct that as the inning goes. That'll bring up Jackson Kennedy. Speaking of power, Kennedy got plenty. He looks at ball 1 up high. So Calvary, in the first 3 hitters of the game, have taken the lead here over Heritage, 2-1. That ball bounces up there, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to the Knights catcher. Sun is setting behind us, thank goodness, so it's not in our face. Breaking pitch stays high, ball 3. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Covey having a little bit of problem finding the zone here in the bottom of the first. The 3-0 pitch. Ball 4, stayed inside, and Kennedy draws a walk. The runner was going on the pitch, doesn't matter. And that'll bring up Tommy Irving. And a courtesy runner over at first base, I believe, is going to be Braxton Wilkinson for the catcher. First pitch to Tommy Irving is called strike. No balls and a strike. Runners at first and second. We have nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Calvary already with 2 runs across, and they're threatening again. with 2 men on. The pitch, breaking pitch, hammered out to left field, but it's pulled foul well up on the hill toward the football field. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Covey now with his sign. The stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Fouled away again. This one caught by the screen. And we'll stay at 0-2. Covey, the 0-2 pitch. Drilled between the shortstop and third baseman for a single out into left field. The runners will move up 1 station, and the bases are loaded now. And that'll bring up Nate Osborne with a chance to do some damage here in this first inning. Got another courtesy runner. This is going to be, I can't see, is that number 12? Okay, we've got 2 number 2s. And Nate Osborne rips it up the middle. It's past the shortstop, into the gap, all the way to the wall. 2 runs are in. Here comes the third run, rounding third, and Osborne is going to be into second base with a double. A 3-run double for Nate Osborne. And Mason Bishop will come to the plate. A little confusion about that courtesy runner because he's also wearing number 2. Jackson Kennedy's also wearing number 2, so our courtesy runner's number 2, and the starting catcher's also number 2. And Mason Bishop with a runner at second base. It is now 5-0. Calvary after the 3-run double by Nate Osborne. He hit a hot shot, and it was past the shortstop before he could really make a good fielding effort at it. And once it got past him, it scooted across the grass and got all the way to the wall in left center. 2 balls and no strikes now to Mason Bishop. Covey, the wind and the pitch. Up high for ball 3. And it's 3-0. 3-0. He swings at it and is going to pop it up in the infield. Second baseman's going to make the catch. And I'm not sure he's supposed to have had the green light right there with 3-0. But he did, and it's the first out. And that'll bring up Liam Hokut for his first at bat, the Knights' first baseman. He looks at a breaking pitch that bends outside and low for ball 1. Fastball fouled into the screen. It's 1 ball, 1 strike to Liam Hokut. 5 runs across so far for Calvary here in the bottom of the first. 1 away, man at second base. And we're on the 8th hitter in the lineup. There's a fly ball down the right field side. Right fielder giving chase. He's got it. Nate Osborne tags, and he's going to move over to third. And that will be the second out.
Now batting, designated hitter number 21, Austin Smith.
And Austin Smith will come to the plate. The designated hitter in this game. Looks at a breaking pitch up high for ball one. Nate Osborne at third base. There's 2 outs now. Bottom of the first inning. Heritage got a run on a long home run in the top of the first. Calvary has answered with 5. And there's a hard hit ball out to shortstop. He fields, throws across, and got him. So 9 batters to the plate in the first inning for Calvary, yields 5 runs on 2 hits and an error. A couple of walks thrown in there. So after 1 complete inning of play, it's Calvary 5, Heritage 1. We'll be back at Calvary on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Back at Calvary, top of the second inning, Jax Latham, the catcher for Heritage, will lead off here in the top of 2. 5-1 Calvary. Pretty active first inning there. Swing and a miss. Big swing from Jax Latham there. He had a cut at that one, trying to make a copy of his buddy Greg Smith in the first inning. Excuse me. And did he go? Yes, he did. And it's 0-2. The umpire didn't even have to get help there. He said, I saw it. And he's in a hole. Tommy Irvin, a senior. He deals. Strike 3 called at the knees on the outside corner. He painted that one and got the call. And there's 1 away. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Sean Covey. A large fellow. Hits from the right side. Got a bright pink leg guard on. Takes ball 1 on a breaking ball. Stays inside. And it's 1-0. Last I checked, across town, there's ball 1 down low. Excuse me. Ball 2. Down low, 2-0 to Covey. Last I checked, across town, Columbus and Crisp County were playing the deciding game of their playoff series, and Crisp County was leading 9-5 in the 4th inning. Don't know if that's held up. I'll try to check again here shortly. Richard Holdridge has that game for you on Georgia Alabama Sports. It's 3-0 here now to Covey. And it's ball 4. So a base runner for Heritage on the free pass. And courtesy runner. Still 9-5. It's in the 6th inning now. Crisp County leading. Parker Roberts is your courtesy runner. There's a called strike to Lennon Campbell. Pickoff moved to first. It was close. Boy, he caught him leaning there, and it was a really closer play probably than it should have been. Urban doesn't have the really quick snap move. He kind of steps off, turns and throws, but still had the runner leaning. And he gets back again as first base comes out of the ground there. He kind of freezes. It's still 0-1. 5-1 Calvary leads. The pitch, swing and a miss. Strike two. Nice breaking pitch from Tommy Irvin there. Irvin into the stretch, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He got him swinging. Fourth strikeout of the night so far for Tommy Irvin. And they're two away with a runner at first, and Henry Zwick, the left fielder, will come up for Heritage. Left-handed hitter. Strike. Nope, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun a little bit. It was a nice-looking pitch, I will tell you, but I believe it was low. 4-1. I got a little ahead of the umpire there. Can't call him blue tonight. I guess you got to call him beige. They're wearing their light-colored umpire shirts tonight. The 1-0 on the inside corner. That time it was a little bit higher at the knees, and it's 1-1 strike to Zwick. That's something you don't see on the Calvary campus every day. There's a ground ball. It's going to be flagged down by the second baseman. What a play. Out at second base, Jay Smith, a diving stab, gets that one, gets up and gets to first base just in time to get the runner. A really web gem of a play right there for the third out. And Calvary gets out of that inning with no damage. No runs on no hits, one runner left on base. We're going to the bottom of the second inning. It's 5-1 Calvary here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Back here at Calvary, bottom of the second inning, Cam Houston is coming up, and he is already up for his second at bat here in the second inning. He led off the first with a walk and scored on a double by Trip Ellison. And I told y'all wrong. There were 3 hits in the first inning. Tommy Irvin had a single. And there's a drive, left center field, deep. That ball is going and gone. Cam Houston puts a charge into it. Didn't know if it was gonna have enough legs to get out of here, but it did. Just to the right of the scoreboard. And Houston extends Calvary's lead to 6-1. With a round tripper out to left center. That'll bring up Trip Ellison. Ellison doubled with an RBI back in the first and later scored. The first 5 hitters in the order, as a matter of fact, all scored for Calvary. Reached base and scored. First pitch to Ellison. Inside, 4-1. So Cam Houston's homer, not quite as majestic as Greg Smith's homer in the first inning, but still counts the same number of runs and looked just as good in the scorebook. 1-1 strike now to Ellison. He fouled that one off the left side. One pitch coming. Ripped over to right field between the first baseman and the second baseman, and Trip Ellison is 2 for 2 in the game, and that'll bring up Bryson Brooks. Brooks reached on an error back in the first inning. Hit a high bouncing ball that the shortstop let hit the ground one too many times, and that last hop took off on him and led to the error. And he'll stand in this time with a chance to do some damage here with nobody out and a runner at first. Covey. The pitch. Ellison goes. First pitch. Throw is a fairly good one, but Ellison had a good jump, and he's in there safely. So a stolen base for Trip Ellison, and he's in scoring position. Constant breeze here. As we said, the front is coming. There's no rain in this area. It will not get here tonight. It's up north of us, north and west, well west of us. I don't even think there was any rain in Alabama when I left home and saw the radar. It's out in Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee. High fly ball foul. That's going to be out of play right here below us. And no chivalrous men down there were trying to save the young ladies. They were all cowering out of the way, and thankfully it didn't hit anything but the bleacher. We'll do it again. 2 balls and a strike. That ball stays outside. Covey flirted with that outside corner there, but did not hit it. There's strike 2. That one did hit the outside corner. Bryson Brooks made the cardinal sin of a hitter. You never leave the box and assume that the umpire is going to call a ball. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Ellison with a big lead. He takes off for third. Throw is down there, and he's out. I think Ellison actually stole that bag, and it was – the pitch was ball 4, I believe, to Brooks as he has to take off all of his armor and give it to somebody. So he's at first, and Ellison is out 2-5 if you're scoring at home. First out of the inning, and Jackson Kennedy looks at strike 1. (6-1) Calvary. Breaking pitch bounces up there. Runner was going. He's going to get credit for a stolen base. He was off with the pitch, and it was a breaking ball that bounced. Catcher could not field it cleanly. And again, a runner in scoring position for the Knights. There's a breaking pitch, stays inside. 2 balls and a strike. 1 away here in the bottom of the second inning. 6-1 Calvary with the lead. Runner in scoring position is Bryson Brooks out at second base. And there's a line drive up the middle, base hit for Jackson Kennedy. Bryson Brooks had to wait and make sure that got through the infield before he could advance to third. So runners will be at the corners. And Kennedy 1 for 1 officially. He walked and scored back in the first, and they'll bring up Tommy Irvin. Irvin singled just ahead of Nate Osborne's 3-run double. Cubby the sign. Runner goes from first. They're just going to let him go. That's the courtesy runner, Braxton Wilkinson. So now runners at second and third. Urban looks at a breaking ball out of the strike zone. It's 2-0. The 2-0 pitch. High fly ball, center field, fairly deep. It's carrying a little bit more than I thought. The wind is pushing it that way a little bit. That will get the run home, and both runners actually advance. But a sacrifice fly for Tommy Irvin. That's the second out of the inning and the second run for the Knights. And they'll bring up Nate Osborne. Osborne with the big blow of the first inning, a 3-run double. Looks at a breaking pitch up high. Forgive me for my coughing every now and then, but it's been a long week for me and a long week for my voice. There's a base hit by Nate Osborne again. He comes through again, drives it up the middle, and he's got 4 RBIs in 2 at-bats. And Calvary now leads 8-1. Mason Bishop popped out to second base on a 3-0 pitch back in the first inning. And he takes a swipe at a breaking pitch, hits it off the end of the bat foul. Seven hits in the game now for Calvary. And there's another one. Just ripped it right up the middle, just like they teach it. And that'll bring up Liam Hocutt. He flew out to right field back in the first inning. And again, we're already at 8 hitters in this inning. So Calvary almost, if Liam Hocutt can reach right here, they will have gone through the lineup 1 through 9 twice in 2 innings. He takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Sun has finally pretty much gone down. So we're at dusk here. Strike 2 on the outside corner. Now Hocutt's going to have to go to work. Cubby into the stretch. The 0-2 pitch. Driven up the middle, base hit. Osborne's going to round third, but he's going to hold there. Throw comes all the way to the plate. So 3 straight singles after the sacrifice fly have loaded the bases. And the number 9 hitter in the order, Austin Smith, comes up. He grounded out to shortstop to end the first inning. Takes ball one up in the zone. Looks at ball two. Good secondary lead by Nate Osborne coming down the third baseline. He was ready to go. Had that ball gotten past the catcher, gotten away from the catcher, he would have had a good chance to score. The 2-0 pitch, breaking pitch, stays high, and it's 3-0. He'll be taking right here with the bases loaded, trying to get an easy RBI if he can get ball four. The pitch, there's strike one. Smith stands back in. The 3-1 pitch. Driven out toward right center. Right fielder, though, is there, and he makes the catch. So once again, Calvary sends 9 men to the plate in the second inning. They plate 3 of those. And after 2 complete innings of play, it is 8-1 Calvary. And we'll be back in a moment for the third inning here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Don't go anywhere. Back at Calvary, top of the third inning. Talking to my good friend Levi Dunn, who is a former coach here at Calvary and is now the head football coach at Heritage in Noonan. We're going to get him on the mic here before long and chat with him. But he said that Heritage won their region last night, secured their region championship or district championship last night. And he said this is their 4th game of the week, and there's strike one to Judd Devine. And he said they're probably a little bit tired. Swing and a miss, strike two. Pitch up and in. And it's 0-2. And a swing and a miss, strike three. So fifth strikeout so far for Tommy Irvin, and we're back to the top of the order. And Landon Justice, the center fielder, he grounded out back in the first inning to shortstop. Takes that one inside near his ribs. It's 1-0. Irvin deals. Bounces up there, 2 balls, no strikes. Not sure what the playoff situation looks like just yet for GIAA. Know that it'll start this week. Calvary with a 2 seed in the region, I believe, should host a first-round game. The 3-0 pitch down the middle for strike one. And there's a ball hit hard up the middle, and that's going to get through for a single. Second hit of the game for Heritage comes off the bat of Landon Justice. He's now 1 for 2, and that'll bring up Asher Durham, the shortstop. He was a strikeout victim back in the first inning. Irvin into the stretch. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike one. That might have been a breaking ball. I think it was. Irvin goes over to first. Runner back easily. The 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball out to shortstop. Houston has that one go off his glove. And everybody's safe. That one was to the bag and to his glove side, and he got up the middle, but it took a little short hop on him and just came up on him as he went to field it. Hit the heel of his glove. That'll go down as an error. And it'll put runners at the first two, and that'll bring up Greg Smith, who hit the Babe Ruth-style home run back in the first inning. High, long fly ball. And he takes a swipe at that one for strike one. Irvin looks in. The 0-1 pitch. Strike two on the inside corner at the knees. Good spot for that pitch right there. And yet another 18-wheeler with a big pipe on the back of it comes onto the Calvary campus. This one doesn't blow his horn like the last one did, though. He's not as friendly a driver. Irvin into the stretch. The 0-2 pitch. Just off the outside corner. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gorgeous night for baseball here in Columbus, Georgia. Clingstones are at home. If you haven't been down there, I haven't. I need to get there. Our guy, Thrift Behringer, last night made his professional baseball debut and did the broadcasts. That one stayed off the plate inside right there. Tommy Irvin was walking toward the dugout. That was a really good pitch. Not going to lie to you, I think the batter even thought it was strike three. But the umpire said, nope, it got off the plate, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second, 1 away here in the top of the third. Irvin, the stretch, the 2-2 fouled straight back into the screen. And it is still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Join Marty Durden and myself tomorrow night, or excuse me, Sunday night, as we will have our stand-up or our step-up podcast. Our guest this week will be none other than former Calvary head coach Brian Osborne, currently the athletic director at Community Christian up in Stockbridge, Georgia. That one fouled off the left side out onto the bank. Good podcast last week. Coach Ronnie Jones, one of the winningest coaches in the state of Georgia, was the guest of Marty Durden as I was dealing with my illness last Sunday night. And this week, Coach Brian Osborne, Ozzy as we call him, will join us on the podcast. You find that right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It'll go live around 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Ball 3 inside now, so a full count to Greg Smith. Only 1 out, so the runners will not be moving, or should not be moving on this pitch. And Irvin into the stretch. And he's going to step through towards second base, make the runner get back. And we'll do it again. And there's ball 4. So the bases will be loaded now with 1 out, and that'll bring up Bryson Smallwood. Jackson Kennedy's going to go out and have a word with his pitcher. They're going to be joined by Cam Houston out there. Just have a little chat. Irvin's still a little bit upset about that really close pitch. And so he's going to get his focus back here. 1 out, bases loaded. Heritage threatening here in the 3rd. First pitch, breaking pitch for a strike to Bryson Smallwood. There's a force everywhere. Ground ball, good chance that a ground ball could end up a double play here. Irvin, the wind. Yeah, before that, we're going to have a timeout. Now Smallwood steps back in. The wind and the pitch. Bounces by the catcher. Here comes the runner, and he will score. He got up and into the soft part of the screen. Sometimes those balls will bounce off the wall back here and make it a really close play or an out if that runner goes. But that one got up into the screen and stuck back by the wall, and the runner was able to score. So it's 8-2 now with runners at second and third. And that was down low. Kennedy tried to steal that one and bring it up into the zone. It was just below the knees, though. And it's 2 balls and a strike. And the umpire says he did go on that one, so it'll be 2 balls, 2 strikes. It was a check swing, but again, he didn't ask for help there. He just called it himself. And it's 2-2. Still only 1 out. Runners at second and third. Irvin, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and he's going to tag him there. So 2 away now. That's the 6th strikeout. He's had 2 strikeouts in each of the 3 innings. And that'll bring up Jax Latham, who struck out looking back in the the 2nd inning. There's a drive out to center field. Tripp Ellison is going to get there, though. He reaches up, makes the catch over his shoulder. He kind of turned the wrong way when he made his first break on that one. Didn't know if he was going to be able to recover, but he did. Reached up, made a nice catch running back. And that'll end the inning for Heritage. So 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base for Heritage. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's 8-2 Calvary. We'll be back in a moment on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. All right, we are back here at Calvary. Bottom of the third inning, and we're going to be joined here in this third inning by former Calvary offensive coordinator and current head coach at Heritage Noonan, Levi Dunn. Levi, it's good to see you, brother.
Oh, it's good to be here, man. You know, it's always cool to be back on campus and see these guys compete. You know, it's crazy to see some of them that were so young when we were here.
Isn't that crazy?
A little bit older and getting to compete a little bit at the varsity level.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
A lot of these guys, when I first met them, were 8th graders, and now they're juniors here. And there's a drive off the bat of Cam Houston. It's going to be foul. Houston in the game is officially 1-for-1. He walked to lead off the game and scored, and he hit a home run in the second inning. And he is 1-for-1 with 2 runs scored here and an RBI for the Knights already for his third plate appearance, and we're in the third inning.
It's crazy how that works, huh?
So the 1-1 pitch is strike 2 called. So, Levi, tell us how things are going up at Heritage. You took the job earlier this, really in the winter, I guess. First head coaching job. How things gone since you've gotten to Noonan? Here's a ground ball by Houston out to second base. Throws across and just nips him at first. So the first time Cam Houston has been retired tonight. There's one away.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where it's a learning experience, and you think you got it all figured out until you get there, and then you find all the little loopholes that you got to figure out as you go through. But it's going good. You know, we got a great group of kids working on adding a couple more bodies to it. But we're going to be competitive. We're going to come out and play fast, play hard, score some points, make it fun.
Absolutely. Trip Ellison at the plate takes ball 1. Ellison in the game is 2 for 2. He had a double and an RBI and scored in the first inning and singled in the last inning, was caught stealing at third. But, yeah, your first head coaching experience, you left Calvary and you went to the college level for a little while at UTEP and then at Texas State.
Yep.
And then have made your way back to the state of Georgia and right up the highway to Noonan. And just was talking earlier when we came on the air before you got here. Nice campus, nice facilities, really well-run school. As Ellison puts that one in play hard, shortstop Fields throws across, got him. So 2 away here already in the third inning, and that'll bring up Bryson Brooks. Brooks is 0 for 1 with a walk and 2 runs scored in the game so far. But, yeah, moving over to that head coach position. And
man.
You worked with, and I left out the fact that you worked with Coach Brian Osborne over at Southern Academy last year and before he moved to Community Christian, and did a good job with him. So you've been around. And you've been around this game, of course, your entire life. You come from probably the premier coaching family from this Columbus, Georgia area. Seems like everybody in your family is a coach.
You know, it's one of those things that kind of runs in the blood, and you kind of hop into it, and you're either good at it or you're not a lot of times.
Yep.
And I just happen to so be that I enjoy it a lot and kind of works itself out. But I think one of the big things that you touched on was the campus up at Heritage.
Yeah.
And the other thing that kind of goes with that is the people that we have. You know, our head of school, Kristen Scully, is an amazing woman. She does an awesome job. The dynamic there at the school between, you know, the students and the teachers and everything like that is really set up to be a college prep school.
Yeah.
Whether it be the layout of the school, you know, the teaching styles and things like that, it really does prepare the kids to be prepared for life and what's to come after high school.
And there's a strike to Bryson Brooks. It's 2-2. There are 2 outs. Nobody on board here for Calvary. We're in the bottom of the third inning, joined by Levi Dunn. And Levi, if that last name sounds familiar to you, his dad was pretty famous there for a while in the SEC. He was the defense coordinator for Jackie Sherrill over at Mississippi State, and he was an intense character, to say the least.
That's one way to put it, without a doubt.
But he was a heck of a good football coach, and there's no surprise. And your mom here at Calvary, their track teams have had a really good spring, and her cross-country teams had a really good fall, and she helps with softball. So she's been a very, very successful coach in her own right, and your uncles, Jay Sparks and Steve Sparks.
The list keeps on going.
It's just crazy how that pedigree runs in your family. And there's ball 4 to Bryson Brooks, and he'll take off all of his protective gear as he heads toward first. Second walk in a row for Bryson Brooks, and the first runner here for Calvary in the 3rd inning. Calvary leads it 8-2. They're 2 away, and they'll bring up Jackson Kennedy. Kennedy is 1 for 1 with 2 runs scored. He singled back in the 2nd, walked in the 1st, has scored both times he's been on, and coming to the plate for the 3rd time. But it was almost a given that you were going to go into coaching. Almost. You never know. I mean, everybody thought I was going to be a preacher because my dad was a preacher.
Right.
And everybody thought I might follow in his footsteps, but you never know what your calling is going to be. Runner goes from first. Brooks is going to be safe. Goes in there standing up for some reason. But his 2nd stolen base of the night. But it was almost a given that you were going to go into the coaching profession after being a good player coming through. And it's kind of funny. You've spent most of your time on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And your dad was a defensive coach. But then when you got to the college ranks,
level,
you were on the defensive
we were
side.
on defense.
And there's a ground ball to the shortstop, and it throws across for the 3rd out of the inning. So nothing doing for Calvary here in this inning. So we're just going to keep it here and talk between innings with Levi Dunn. I was fortunate enough to coach with you, Coach, for a couple of years here at Calvary under Coach Osborne, and that's where we really got to know each other. I've been knowing your mom a little bit longer than that, and, of course, I've known your uncles, worked with your Uncle Jay at Columbus State for all 16 of the years I was there. Ooh. And, man, that sounds like a long time.
Those years start to add up a little bit there, don't they?
They do. But it's, know a lot of your family, know your grandmother, Miss Sue. And saw her just last week.
Okay.
Did a game over at Northside, first round playoff game, first or second round, I don't remember. But see Steve every now and then.
They were on a little bit of a roll, weren't they?
Yeah, they got a little bit of roll, but then I think they had to play number 1 this week.
That happens. Reality sets in
Blessed
a
Trinity
bit.
had was having a great year. So what's been your biggest, I guess, realization moving over to the head coaching position once you've gotten into that role now and you've been in it for a few months?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things that really play into it that you think about. And a lot of it goes into, the fancy stuff. You talk about the jerseys and the helmets and the decals and stuff like that. But there's so much more logistical stuff behind the scenes that goes on as a head guy, whether that be facilities and stuff like that, and making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, for workouts. Or, at a small school like this, we got a bunch of guys that play baseball. We got a lot of guys that are running track right now. We got a lot of guys that are playing soccer. Our soccer team actually just lost in the region title game 3-2 the other day as well. So they were in the mix. And, organizing spring ball and getting some guys out there for some workouts during the spring with a good chunk of our guys playing other sports is definitely a battle. But, that's the beauty of a small school. And, being where you can be to support them and encourage them to be involved in other sports and compete and, still get prepared for football at the same time.
Yeah. And we're getting started here in the top of the 4th as Covey, the pitcher, will lead off for Heritage. But when you're at a private school, you also get to do a tad bit. I don't hesitate to use the word recruit.
Right.
But you do get to do a tad bit of trying to get more bodies into your school, trying to get some players to come your way. And it's easier in some places than it is in others, but you do get to have that option available to you to get some guys maybe out of some public school situations and present the option of a private school education and at a good campus, at a good school. And a lot of parents take advantage of that. And,
without a doubt.
So hopefully, you'll, like you said, you're going to try to add some bodies. And at your level, Calvary, Brookstone, Pacelli here in Columbus are at the 4A level in GIAA.
Right.
And Heritage is a 2A school.
Correct.
So that's 2 classifications lower, much smaller school, a little smaller environment, but still very competitive.
Oh, without a doubt. We've got some guys, that you see them on the field, and they could probably be public school kids and get to compete at that level. Was that fair?
It was fair. The plate umpire said it was foul. Nate thought it was foul. Nate Osborne, the third baseman, and the catcher Jackson Kennedy thought it was foul, but the umpire said nope, it bounced into fair territory. And Covey is aboard with a single here, a high bouncing single. And that'll bring up Lennon Campbell, the third baseman. And you were telling me a little bit ago, I asked you about some of these players on the field. You've got, what, three or four that are?
We've got about 3 or 4 that are involved with the baseball team. Actually, Lennon right here is one of our receivers. And it's a fun story about him. You'll love this. He started out as a manager for the football team.
Really?
And they got 4 games into the season, and he decided that he wanted to start playing. And he fell in love with it. And now he's one of the ringleaders of the football team.
How about
as an upcoming senior. And, he's taken charge and, has the right mentality and one of those guys that you want to lead your team. Now, we'll have about 10 or 11 seniors this year, so we'll be kind of senior heavy, but, that sets up to have a successful year.
Yeah.
And they've got a chip on their shoulder from the season last year, and hopefully they got something to prove.
Yep.
And we're going to roll with it.
Swing and a miss to him. No balls and a strike. Runner's down at second base. I believe he went. Is that a wild pitch that he went on, or how did he get to second base? Because he was at first.
Yeah. You blink and you miss it, Coach.
I did.
I missed it too, so it's okay.
1 ball, 1 strike now. But so talk about your staff a little bit. One thing you had to do, you had a couple of slots to fill on your staff.
Right.
Have you filled out your staff? Or are you still looking? What's going on there?
We've got majority of our staff filled out. We're in the process of hiring our DC. They're working on slotting him in at the school for a teaching position so we can have him on campus.
That's going to be back here amongst us.
Yeah.
It's drifting back toward the field, though. It's going to get over there by the screen. Almost got all the way back into play.
Yeah, that's a close one.
As it spun backwards.
But
I think everybody got out of the way.
it
Okay,
looked like it. It was close, though, Coach. I was real close. No, but, it looks like we're going to have 8 or 9 guys on staff with about 5 or 6 of them being in the building, which would be huge at a small private school.
Oh, no doubt.
The more bodies you can have talking to the kids, the more involvement you'll get out of it. We actually just added another community coach to our staff last week by the name of Evan Cooper. He played defensive back at the University of Michigan. His son is the safeties coach at Florida State University.
Oh, cool.
So he's got about 35 years of experience coaching, and to have him on staff will be a big weapon for me.
That's a good pickup, yeah. Lennon Campbell strikes out swinging. That's going to bring up Henry Zwick now to the plate. 1 away, runner at second. We're in the top of the 4th inning. It is 8-2 Calvary. Joined by Coach Levi Dunn, who is the new head football coach at Heritage. And pretty soon we're going to have to take the new title off of that.
I know.
You'll no longer be.
We're a couple months in.
Yeah, you'll no longer be the new guy. You'll be just the head coach at Heritage here before long.
We're just riding the wave right now until we get to the season, rolling into the summer and stuff like that. And kind of taking it one step at a time, my guy.
Yep. And we got our old buddy back here behind us, Stu Mills-Wells, that joined us here tonight, too. We may get him on the mic here before long, talk about his year over at Columbus State, a graduate assistant for the men's basketball team.
I was about to say they had a heck of a year this
They
year.
did. They had a tremendous year. I
I
got to see them quite a lot and be a part of that and enjoyed that. And it's now 3-0 to Henry Zwick as Tommy Irvin
I tell you what,
struggling
Coach.
just a little bit here in this inning.
Coach Moore does a heck of a job with those guys up at Columbus State.
He
They're
really
fun
does.
to watch, too.
He really
That's
does.
the thing. They're fun.
The 3-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. He was swinging on a 3-0 pitch. That's the second batter of the game that was swinging on a 3-0 pitch. You don't see that very often in high school ball.
What can you say? Playing aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Swinging for the fences, Coach.
Irvin into the stretch, the 3-1 pitch. Strike 2 on the outside corner.
That's probably why I didn't play baseball, Coach. I'd have been swinging on every pitch that I could.
All of them look good to you, right?
That's what I'm saying. We're swinging for the fences. We're going to take 3 pitches, and we're going for that fence.
Irvin now into the stretch. One away, runner at second. The 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called.
Oof.
Another good pitch. And that is strikeout. Let me count them up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts now here in the 4th inning. And then I bring up 9-hitter in the order, Judd Devine. I think you said Devine was one of your football players as well.
Last year as well. He was a safety receiver type body for us last year, so hopefully we can kind of keep him in the same role.
Swing and a miss.
Kind of got that long, skinny frame on him there, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we got some big old boys up front, too.
That's a good thing.
Oh, no doubt. And we got 2 of them. They're about 6'4", 290, and then got one that's about 6'6", 260, 270. So, safe to say we'll be able to run the ball a little bit.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. Yeah, that's the old power encounter and
Coach,
some of those plays that
you already know who we're gonna make our money on that one, Coach. And you'll love this. I got a running back that's about 6'1", 215.
Oh wow.
He benches about 290. Squats about 430.
The 0-2 pitch is up, 4-1. Good job of holding off of that one by Devine. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning, 8-2 Calvary. Heritage with the runner at second base. He's been there since the beginning of the inning. And 2 straight strikeouts for Tommy Irvin. And that one bounces, gets to the backstop. It's going to go over toward the dugout for Heritage, and that'll move Covey over to third on the wild pitch. So 90 feet away from making it an 8-3 game, but it's going to take something off the bat here of Judd Devine, or if he could coax ball 4, they could get back to the top of the order. Irvin now into the windup, and the 2-2 pitch. Up and away, ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Again, a good job by Devine laying off that pitch. And the 3-2. Right down the middle, strike 3 called.
That one hurts.
3 straight strikeouts for Tommy Irvin. So, after 3.5 innings, it is Calvary 8, Heritage 2. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in a moment on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We are back here in the bottom of the fourth inning. We got some changes for you. We have a change in the pitcher here for Heritage. Now pitching is Nate Griffith. So he'll take over for Covey. And the first pitch is ball one. Got by the catcher. These two teams were supposed to play up at Heritage tomorrow, but they've gone ahead and canceled that one because of the threat of weather and fatigue on the part of Heritage. They've already played 4 times this week, or this is the fourth game this week, so they went ahead and decided to cancel that one. As Tommy Irvin fouls that one off. Irvin in the game is 1 for 1 with a run scored and an RBI. He had a sacrifice fly back in the second. He looks at ball 2 that bounces up there. Griffith is a freshman for Heritage. Right-hander. The 1-1 pitch hits him. And Tommy Irvin I believe that got him in the left arm. Probably didn't feel good, but at least it's not cold. And that'll bring up Nate Osborne. All Nate Osborne has done so far in this game is go 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs in those 2 at-bats. A 3-run double in the first, an RBI single in the second. And he comes up here in the fourth with a runner at first and nobody out. Irvin is off with the pitch, got a huge jump. The catcher tried to hold on to that one, didn't, and he ended up throwing a ground ball to the shortstop. So a stolen base for Tommy Irvin. Pitch was a ball. It's 1-0 to Nate Osborne. Pitch stays up. It's 2 balls, no strikes now. The Knight third baseman, quarterback of the football team. Irvin takes off for third. He's going to steal it standing up. The young freshman is just not really taking a look at the runners. So a pair of stolen bases, and Tommy Irvin is at third with nobody out. 3-0 now to Osborne. And ball 4. As 4 straight were up in the zone. And Nate Osborne's perfect night stays intact. He's been on base all 3 times. This time via the walk. So runners at the corners. And that'll bring up Mason Bishop. Bishop singled his last at bat in the second. One of 3 straight singles in that inning to load the bases before the Calvary lineup was retired. He fouls this one back to the screen. No balls and a strike. Griffith. The 0-1 pitch. Runner goes from first, and he's going to go uncontested. So runners now at second and third. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mason Bishop. And their ball is driven to left field, but the left fielder is there. He's going to make the catch. Tommy Irvin is going to tag and score. And Nate Osborne stays in place down there at second base. But Bishop with the RBI sacrifice fly. First out of the inning, and it's 9-2 now, Calvary. And Liam Hokut at the plate. Hokut 1 for 2. He got another one of those singles, 3 straight singles back in the second inning. Looks at ball 1, low and away. Wish I had a cough button. The 1-0 pitch, up and in, somehow did not get a piece of him. I think he's taking a little grief from the dugout over there. I think I heard the term wear it over there, trying to get another base runner. That's easy for them to say when a baseball's coming at you. Unless you know it's a changeup or a breaking pitch and it's not going to hurt too bad. You don't want that thing hitting you. Hokut fouls this one into the screen. It's now 2 balls and a strike. Hokut, a good size young man, 6'5", also a member of the basketball team here at Calvary. I knew him when he was an 8th grader. The 2-1 pitch stays inside, ball 3. So 3 balls and a strike, 1 out, and the pitch. Hit hard through the left side, base hit for Liam Hokut, his 2nd hit in a row. That'll move Nate Osborne over to 3rd. And Liam Hokut is now 2 for 3 in the game. And that'll bring up Austin Smith. Austin Smith is 0 for 2. He grounded out hard to the shortstop in the first inning and hit a fly ball fairly deep to right field in the second inning. He was the 3rd out both of those times, but the thing about it here is most likely he will not be the 3rd out of this inning. I say most likely because he could hit into a double play. Calvary sent 9 men to the plate in each of the first 2 innings. And he's taking ball 2 up high. Griffith, the freshman right-hander, he's having a little bit of trouble with the zone tonight. He's leaving a lot of pitches up. There's a bouncing ball down to 3rd. That's going to be a base hit. And Nate Osborne was going all the way, so I'm going to give that an RBI infield single. I think if he feels that clean, he still doesn't throw Austin Smith out. And I think everybody agreed with me scoring the game. So an RBI infield single for Austin Smith has made it 10-2 now, and that'll bring up Cam Houston. Runners at 1st and 2nd. Houston, a good night going. He's 1 for 2 with a home run and 2 runs scored, 1 RBI. He takes ball 1. Pitch. There's a pop-up on the right side of the infield. Second baseman is there. He's going to glove it. Houston I don't know, that pitch kind of fooled him a little bit. He didn't have the best swing in the world at it and popped it to second. And there are 2 outs here now in the inning. And Trip Ellison is 2 for 3 tonight. A double, a single, stolen base, and an RBI. Grounded out his last at bat back in the 3rd. Looks at ball 1 up high. Ellison, the center fielder, had an outstanding play with his back to the infield, running down a long fly ball. That one bounces up there, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. The pitch. Ball 3, up and away. And it's 3-0 now to Trip Ellison. Griffith, the 3-0 pitch. Down low, ball 4, and that'll load the bases. And that'll bring up Bryson Brooks. That'll bring a visit out from the pitching coach for Heritage. Quick conversation with his young right-hander. And we did get a final from Randy Jordan Field. It was Crisp County 10, Columbus High 6. So the season is done for the Blue Devils in the playoffs. As their run ends today, they took Crisp County to the the third if game of the series. And Crisp was able to come away on the road with the victory, and they'll move on to the next round. That is in the GHSA playoffs. And Bryson Brooks will stand in here. Ball 1, that one comes hard off the wall. Liam Hocott not able to do anything there. Bases loaded, 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. 2 across so far here in this inning for Calvary. Bryson Brooks trying to do something about that. Takes that one high, ball 2. Freshman right-hander Nate Griffith on the mound for Heritage. The 2-0 pitch. Driven into right field. That's going to get down for a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Smith around third. Throw coming to the plate is cut off. And it'll be 2 RBIs for Bryson Brooks. And he hit that ball hard. The throw looked like there might have been a possible play at the plate, but it was cut off. So that's going to put runners at the corners now. And it is 12-2 Calvary. And this is the 9th hitter of the inning in the person of Jackson Kennedy. 2 away, runners at the corners. Calvary now leading 12-2. Calvary has 12 runs on 11 hits. There's been 1 Heritage error. Heritage has 2 runs on 3 hits. There's been 1 Calvary error. Ball is up for ball 2 to the Knights catcher. The pitch, ball 3, up and away. As Levi Dunn told us, this is the 4th game of the week for Heritage. They clinched their district championship last night. And that one hits Kennedy. Would have been ball 4, and that's going to load the bases. And that's going to make me have to alter my scorebook here a little bit. As Tommy Irvin, who led off the inning by being hit by a pitch, will come back up now with the bases loaded and a chance to help his own cause here. In the game, Irvin is officially 1 for 1. He has a single, a sacrifice fly, and an RBI, and was hit by a pitch. So he's officially 1 for 1. And there's a high fly ball that is curling toward the fence over there, but it's going to be caught in foul territory by the first baseman, and that'll end the frame for the Knights. So in the inning, Calvary scores 4 runs. on 3 hits. There were a couple of hit batters and a walk. And we will go now to the 5th inning. It is Calvary 12, Heritage 2. We'll be back in a moment on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Back at Calvary, we are in the top of the 5th inning. We've got a new pitcher on the mound for Calvary. That is Fitz Stone, who will take over for Tommy Irvin here. And we've got the top of the order up for Heritage. Actually, we may have a pinch hitter here for Heritage. I believe we do. We have a pinch hitter. That is George Zwick, who is pinch hitting. And the count is now 1-2 to Zwick. So Zwick coming in place of Landon Justice. And he looks at strike 3. And Fitz Stone gets his first strikeout of the game. And now coming to the plate for Heritage, another pinch hitter, Dominic Shefferdon. I hope I'm saying that correctly, folks. Dominic Shefferdon. He looks at strike 1 from Fitz Stone. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Not sure how many at-bats Dominic's had this season. Trying to make contact here. The wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So 2 straight strikeouts. Facing 2 pinch hitters for Fitz Stone, and that'll bring up Greg Smith. Greg Smith 1 for 1 in the game officially. He had a long home run back in the 1st inning and walked in the 3rd. Left-handed hitter, the first baseman. And he will be at the plate trying to keep things alive for Heritage. Swing and a miss. Fouls that one away. Got a little piece of it, and it also got a little piece of Jackson Kennedy as he's jumping around down there. Not sure where it got him. Maybe I don't want to know where it got him. but it got a piece of him. And it's 0-1. Umpire doing the right thing here. He's going to give Jackson Kennedy a minute or two to has a little chat, a little smiling chat with Fitzstone out there. Taking his time getting back to the plate. Kennedy says he's ready to go. 12-2 Calvary. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Greg Smith looks at a breaking pitch that stays just out of the zone, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Stay tuned here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live for updates. And there's a high fly ball that's going to stay on the infield. No, get to shallow outfield. Trip Ellison calls it just behind the infield dirt and catches it. And that'll do it for Heritage, and that'll do it for our ball game, folks, as this one's going to end on mercy rule. Calvary takes the 12-2 victory over Heritage. Calvary moves to 17-12 on the season. This will be their final game of the 2025 season, final regular season game of the 2025 season, as they've canceled tomorrow's scheduled date at Heritage. And Calvary will finish the regular season at 17-12 overall, 8-4 in District 5 play, and they'll get ready for the playoffs this week coming up in the GIAA. And we'll host a playoff series to start things off. We'll have more information on who they'll play, as some of those games are being decided tonight. Some of those matchups are being decided tonight with the end of the regular season in GIAA taking place this weekend. We thank you for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'd like to remind you, make sure you frequent our sponsors and make sure you thank them for their sponsorship of what we do here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for high school athletes and high school sports here in the Chattahoochee Valley area, in the Georgia, Alabama area. So, without further ado, we're going to go away. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Good night, everybody.